Oh, that's like a little crayon. I like that.
Oh yeah, it's very moisture-rich.
Okay, now we're ready.
What's that?
Welcome to Show Off.
A show where two Food 52 residents kind of battle it out, have fun with 3 seasonal ingredients. I'm Hana, the host of Weeknight Wonders.
I'm John deBary. I am the Food 52 resident drinks expert.
The 3 ingredients are apples, grains, and
Maple syrup. Choose 3 ingredients and cook and see who deserves to live. Sorry.
since John is a drinks specialist and expert, I thought I would pair it with something that would go well with that, something very snacky and savory. So we're going with meatball sliders in the style of a Swedish meatball. So we're going to fry off the meatballs, cover them in a nice creamy beefy gravy, and put them on these delicious potato rolls. They'll be cheesy and hopefully go well with the nice drink John is prepared to show us.
What makes a meatball Swedish?
Swedes actually like to incorporate a lot of spices like cinnamon, cardamom, if you are familiar with all those delicious buns, but they also incorporate that in some of their food, like the Swedish meatballs. So even if you go to IKEA, you'll sense some white pepper, allspice, which is a mix of like cinnamon, nutmeg, and clove, those like deep, earthy spices. And it is a cold weather country, so like any creamy gravy or sauce is welcome to the party.
Cool. The more you know. How are you incorporating the apple into your slider situation?
Yeah, so we've already sauteed up some onions in butter, and that will help aid in the locking in of the moisture, and I think some grated apple would do the same trick, so and add sweetness as well, which I think apples and pork, so this meatball mixture is a mix of beef and pork. I thought that might be a nice flavor combination. And in terms of the maple syrup, we're just going to mix it with some melted butter and brush the tops for a little sweetness as well.
So good. For my interpretation of these 3 ingredients, I'm going to do kind of like a simple like sour type cocktail. It's reminiscent of like the same kind of structure you'd see for a margarita or a daiquiri or like a whiskey sour. And the apple ingredient, I'm using apple brandy, which is one of my favorite things to use, and I kind of always like sort of forget about it because it feels very like specifically seasonal, but like apple brandy works all year round. And it also has a fun story because this is actually one of the first distilleries in America in Scobeyville, New Jersey. So like predates bourbon and all that stuff. And then for the grain, I'm going to use corn, and I'm trying a new thing that I've never done before, and I just invented in my head last week to do like a spiced maple corn syrup to go along with the drink, and then just shaking it with a little lime juice, and that's that. So we'll see. It could be a disaster.
No, sounds so good. So I guess I'll start with the meat mixture. I'm going to go ahead and peel and grate about half an apple, which I'll then incorporate into the meat mix. I love this. Oop.
I'm so sorry.
Okay. No worries.
Surprise, you're in the video.
And apples are of course inherently juicy, so that'll help add to the moistness of the meat mixture. Sorry.
My favorite thing to describe something like an apple is like wet crunch.
Wet crunch. Okay.
Yeah. All those moist crunch words.
Moist crunch. Oh yeah. I think so. Really? Okay, I'll just add an egg as well. The very nicely sauteed onions. This again will just make sure nothing gets dried out, and we'll cook the meatballs right in this pan because there's a lot of good flavor. What's your first step? I see a coffee filter.
So for me, like my top 3 favorite bar tools are coffee filter, microwave, and a blender, and so I'm going to be using all 3 of those things.
Oh my gosh.
Da, 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 da.
Ooh.
This reminds me of like the cart that the projector would be rolled in on in like 4th grade.
Oh my gosh, with the transparent. Yes. What are you gonna do with the microwave and the corn?
Well, so I am a kind of a lazy person. So I always like how do I make this less work? So when I was cooking corn on the cob maybe a couple years ago, I just sort of was like, put it in the microwave for a couple minutes to see what would happen, and it actually worked out really well. So I haven't looked back, and it's a lot easier than shucking it raw and then boiling it and then having all this hot water and waiting for it. So it's just like super quick, and then then I'll move on with my life and do other stuff.
So smart. It has its own jacket, right?
Exactly. So it steams in it, and then it becomes a lot easier. You can just basically just yank off the whole thing. So I'm gonna put this in for like 5 minutes. And fingers crossed, yeah.
And no lid or anything like that.
No, I'm like literally just like.
Oh my God.
If I start a fire in the kitchen, it's been nice.
Okay, so just keep an eye out on the smoky microwave. That's amazing. Okay, so I think everyone is in the pool for the meat mixture, the sauteed onions, the grated apple, which, as I mentioned before, will add both sweetness and juiciness, an egg, a little bit of milk, the 2 meats, pork and beef in this case, and if anyone likes a good like breakfast sausage, you know that like pork and apple go so well together, so I'm hoping that it turns out nicely. And in terms of spices, salt, pepper, white pepper, a little allspice, which is another very hallmark spice of a Swedish meatball, and I'm just gonna get to mixing. If it looks like the meat mixture is getting a little, or it's a little too loose, we'll just add a bit more breadcrumbs. So you just follow what your meat tells you.
Follow what your meat tells you.
Follow what your meat tells you.
Words to live by.
Yeah.
Just gonna juice some limes. Those of you who've seen my first video maybe have judged me for my very sad citrusing setup. You'd think that someone who used to be a bartender in a lot of fancy places would have a more sophisticated juicing setup, but I'm just like kind of over it. I actually have a new one, so life upgrades are happening at the John deBary test kitchen. Sorry? I brought this from home. This is mine.
That is really
But I got it on Food 52, so.
Okay, so looks like we have a baker's dozen.
Okay.
I'm so curious.
They're kind of soft. I feel like they're a little cool. But let's see, if we need to put it back, we need to put it back, that's fine. So then everything gets really soft and mushy, and you just sort of like break it off, and then all this like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Right?
Okay, so I like to cook meatballs in a pan, kind of in a clockwise fashion, and then if I see, these are all relatively uniform, but if there are any small meatballs, you know, like at the bottom of your batch, I'll put those in the middle. We're just trying to get a good sear on these.
One of my favorite things to consume online is people on Tumblr making fun of people on TikTok. And
on Tumblr?
Yeah.
Who's on Tumblr?
Me and a lot of people. It's so deranged. It's like the best online platform. It's so good. No, exactly. It's like this really like disturbed backwater of the internet that I love. And
Sorry.
people were like roasting like TikTokers for like discovering how to make vegan honey out of corn. Because they're like, oh, you just discovered high fructose corn syrup.
Vegan honey.
So that's sort of the inspiration for this is like online communities making fun of one another.
Sorry, I'm being really delicate with these. So using a fish spatula to kind of help them along. Just want to get a nice brown crust. So what are you going to do with that corn?
What am I going to do with this corn? Good question. I am going to blend it in a blender with some maple syrup and spices and make kind of this like mulled spice syrup that I've never made before, and so we'll see if it's good. I'm hoping there's enough moisture from the corn to make kind of a liquidy syrup, but we may need to add some water. We'll see. I'm pouring in grade B maple syrup. It's just, this flavor is way superior, just a lot richer, whereas like grade A maple syrup is kind of just more like sugar syrup.
A lot of sounds.
Yeah.
So these meatballs, along with the buns, will get heat it through in the oven for like 10 more minutes. So that will also help bring them to the end of their cooking cycle. But I think in terms of the searing, we're good here. So I'm just removing them. I'm gonna empty some of this not so pleasant stuff on the bottom, holding back some of the fat so it can be a good base for the roux for the gravy.
What's the legal definition of a roux?
Roux, starch plus fat, more traditionally butter plus AP flour. Where are we on the corn?
So I've now done corn, maple syrup, cloves, black pepper, and nutmeg in here. Accidentally made corn chowder. Okay, yeah, sure.
Just want to show you guys this nice medium brown color we've achieved. You see.
So where did you learn how to cook?
I've been cooking since I was a kid, but I did go to culinary school as well, where I got more of like that technical, French culinary know-how. But I'm also a mom, so I cook every dang day.
I feel like cooking for a family is like very much like cooking in a restaurant because you have to like plan and you can't just like do whatever and it's all very like
budget
managed
and food waste that you have to keep track of. Also, I'm a firm believer in just cooking one thing. I'm not a short order cook, so you eat what I give you. So everyone back into the pot, and the juice that collects on the bottom, you want to put into the sauce as well.
Actually, it's good like as a drink on its own.
Oh yeah? I'm just using a spoon to gently coat the meatballs. I do this with a spoon because I want to be mindful of how fragile some of them might be. 1 meatball per bun. Just go over each one. And then the cheese, we're using just like a sharp white cheddar. Here is the melted butter. We're just gonna add some maple syrup. Not rocket science, just you can serve this with your, weekend pancakes or waffles. I often see these like tray baked sliders with like a garlic butter, which is delicious, with like ham and Swiss. But it's whatever you want to put between 2 slices of bread. So sliders are assembled. We're just going to stick it in the oven, maybe 350 or so, to get the cheese melty and gooey and to finish off the meatballs. And then we'll eat.
Not normally like a fancy garnish person, but since we're showing off, I thought I'd make a little apple fan to go along with our drink. So just 3 slices, and I soak them in lime juice just so they don't oxidize. A whole ounce of lime, and then just guessing a 3/4 ounce of the spice corn syrup, and then 2 ounces each for each drink of the apple brandy. So I'm going to do 4 ounces total in here. And most cocktail shakers, their like upper limit is 2 drinks. So like don't get too ambitious. If you want to make a lot of drinks at once, it's good to batch it all up and then shake them out each individually.
Do you prefer stainless or?
Yeah, I love stainless. Yeah, because it's lighter, and I think it has a better seal. So, yeah. Smells good.
Are you doing? If you have friends over, do they expect you to do this for every drink?
Yeah, but they don't get that.
Oh, they get the batch cocktail.
I'm like, here's a beer.
Do you like wines too?
I like wine. I drink everything. But to me, like if I'm just like casually drinking, I will like fully grab like a tall boy of something really industrial and drink that. Like,
It's beautiful. Okay.
okay.
Thank you.
Cheers. I hope
So
this is
great
good.
hanging out with you today. Yeah. Ooh.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm into that.
I drink that.
Refreshing, a little like hint of
autumnal.
fall, winter. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the acidity is going to be good with like the rich creaminess
The lime is
of
key.
the sliders. Yeah. I haven't had a slider in a long time.
I know.
Are you guys in a chair or?
Oh, okay.
The maple butter is key. Yeah.
I don't think you detect the apple that much in flavor, but it's a juicy ball. Just delicious.
Thank you.
I'm gonna have to finish up. Come over anytime.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah.
Well, that was so much fun, so delicious. I feel so grateful I get to drink your concoctions in real life, and I hope we can do this more in the future.
Yeah, thank you for showing me the way of the slider.
I know, it's like, it feels like something we used to have a lot of, and but they're still good. It's just like a good little,
Like it's a perfect little party trick.
yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
And hope you guys are able to tune in next month when 2 more residents get together.
And fight to the death.
Thanks for watching.
Oh, this took a turn.
I know.
People go on in a few months like, where are all the Food 52 videos? Oh, they're all dead.
They're all dead.
There's just one left.
I know you guys want me
It's just so loud, just kill all of us.